I'm sitting here with Paul King Kamanga, formerly the Natural. I was always used to calling you the Natural, but you're King Kamanga. And you keep shouting, the King is back, the King is back. Tell us when you're fighting.
So I'm fighting in 2.5 weeks from now. I'm fighting on the 20th of November. But firstly, hello Aiden. Thank you for coming out here. I know you don't live in the south, so to have you come in the south for interviews, we appreciate you, young sir. But coming back to the fight, 20th November, fighting for IBF Continental title against Philip Musariri. And the reason I say the King is back now is because since that step, a few steps away from that world level again, where I was before I had that big loss. And so yeah, so it's one step at a time. But I mean, this will get me straight back into the good rankings in the IBF. And yeah, so I'm back for real.
Well, I see you've employed the services of Manny Fernandez just to help out with a few technical things that you want to fix up. You're still with Gert, I believe, as well.
So I'm still with Gert. You know what happened, yeah? Gert lives like 45 minutes from your house. And so to drive to Gert, and I had a problem with the car. Thank God I got a new car yesterday. And so I can start going to Gert now. But I mean, Gert and Manny work together. And so I'd spoken to Gert, be like, I need to start training with someone. And Manny is up the road from my house, so I can Uber to Manny. It won't kill me. But I mean, to Uber to Gert and back every day is going to kill me. And so yeah, Manny and Gert had a chat. And then yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing there. But I mean, Manny's up the road from my house, and he's very technical. So we're doing a lot of technical. And there's some boys that are my weight as well. You know, we got Eric up here, so that's good sparring. And so yeah, so Manny's just come on board as well. So I haven't changed teams at all. I've just added one more person because of convenience, obviously.
Let's say once a South boy, always a South boy.
Oh yeah, once a South, always a South. We born and bred, yeah. You know what, yeah? I remember, I think I lived in the North for a while. You even came there, and you just have to come back. Yeah, no, it's like the South calls you back. I feel at home now.
Yeah.
More than even I feel more at home here than I feel in Congo. Fun enough.
I wanted to ask, when you were in the UK, I mean, did you ever feel at home?
You know what I like about myself, yeah, is I adapt quickly. And so wherever I went, in the UK, to a point, I felt at home enough to be comfortable for the duration of the time I was there. Obviously, home for me will always be Joburg South. But even though I wasn't born in Joburg South, but I spent most of my life I grew up there. And so, like when I was in Southampton, I adapted enough to make it comfortable enough for me. I mean, if people ask me, where's your home? Your present home. It was Southampton. When I was in Manchester, same thing. But to feel home like Joburg South, nah. I mean, the UK is a very different country. Even the different cities are very different. So I did feel at home to a point, but I also never felt like Joburg South home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen guys like Luther Clay coming out to South Africa. He's training the whole year. He's actually trained in South Africa. Were you shocked when you heard that Luther Clay was going to move back to South Africa?
Not really, because remember, me and Luther are very good friends, and so it's a chat that we have been having since a long time ago. And I think the lockdown was just that, you know, that last thing that got him out here. And so I knew he was going to come eventually, and but he didn't tell me he was coming. I just, hey, I'm in South Africa. I think that was what shook me. But also, I think life is busy, right? Like, I'm busy, he's busy. And so we don't speak every day. Even now, we do speak, but we speak like once a week or when we have something to speak about. But I wasn't really shocked because I kind of knew he was going to eventually come back here. But he didn't tell me. So 10 burpees, you owe me.
Were you surprised in the fact that, okay, so he hasn't got his license yet in South Africa. So, I mean, were you surprised that he made the move here? And I'm going to say this on an opponent level because there's not really that many opponents welterweight-wise in South Africa. I mean, there's Mbenge. Sometimes you are going to move up to welterweight, but you look like you're settling down at super lightweight. There wasn't really, maybe Ndoyana is a good fight for him. Not many matchups for him. Were you surprised in that sense?
Not really. There's very good opponent here, understand? Because remember, you have to be happy, right? And I think to a point, because obviously I know his life quite personally, and so some things I can't kind of say out here now. But I think happiness, and also in the UK, the welterweight is not that much, you know, there's not so much. I think he could rebuild himself after the loss he had with Congo. He could rebuild himself a lot easier here than in the UK. Because as much as he is British, he's still a black South African boy, understand? And so I think for them to make him a home boy, hometown it might be a bit hard. It might be a bit hard. And so I think South Africa was where he will feel more at home. All right, they're more than the UK will be. And so, yeah, I think it was decision. Because remember, life is different, right? There's different level to your life, to even your record, your career. And so he got to a point where South Africa was the best option for him to build up again. So it doesn't mean he has to stay South Africa for a long period of time. He could build up, maybe go back to UK, who knows, maybe the USA. And so for the time in his career he was at, I thought that was the best decision for him.
All right, and then for you, I know it's labeled a homecoming. You were born in the DRC, but you know, for the most part of your life, you've lived in South Africa. So, what was the decision like to go back to the DRC and represent?
I think for me it's very similar to Luther, where he's a South African in the UK. I was a Congolese in South Africa. As much as I spent so much time here, it will always be better for me to be in my home country where I was born. And so I think that in those terms, things are a bit easier. Because also, it's not like I didn't try to get fight here. We did try to get fight. But, you know, people are messing us around, promoters putting show on, promoters not putting show on. And then the COVID happened, and then COVID didn't happen. Because remember, initially, I never wanted to fight in South Africa or Africa in that matter. And I had a few, I'm not sure if I told you, I had a few contacts for fight overseas, America, UK, Russia, even I think even Saudi Arabia and things like that.
Oh wow, okay.
But I mean, those are not fights where they're trying to rebuild me. No, and I didn't want to go in as an opponent after such a bad loss, yeah. And so I think going back home was, as I said again, it's that time in my career where going home to Congo to rebuild myself is the best option here. Obviously, it doesn't mean I won't fight in South Africa or fight anywhere else. Just for now, Congo is the best option for me, and as things go by, then we'll see where it's the best option. Check it as it comes, you know.
Well, I mean, the option came through with, you said the IBF Intercontinental or International Continental is on the line. I mean, that's a good building phase for you in terms of steps. So you said you're going through a couple of steps, but this is the start.
So this is the start, as I said again. So I think Continental gets you like top 10 in the IBF, if I'm not mistaken or whatever. And so you kind of jump steps. I think top 10 or top 15. But either way, I'm going back to the top again in terms of the IBF and whatever. And so this is that first step into where I want to go eventually. Because what you want, you don't just want to fight for no reason. You want to set goals, right? I want to fight for this and that and this and that, and then eventually. So this is just the next step to reaching to where I want to be. Obviously, I want to be a world champion. I don't want to say everyone. I want to be a world champion. And so winning this IBF will get me into that contention phase.
I want to go back to your last fight against Viper. Were you surprised how easy it was?
You know what, yeah? A lot happened in that fight. I mean, as a fighter myself. So what happened was in the first round, I think first round we're testing each other out. I understand. And he had home ground. He had the whole thing happening there. And so what happened was we were supposed to start at 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And he had all these boys there. They almost started right outside. And so they actually had to hide me away from it so that I don't get mixed in here. And the fight eventually started like 10 or 11 p.m. And I went on at midnight or just after midnight. And so in the first round, there was a clash of heads. And I had a nasty cut up here. And I knew for a fact that the judges would have had him head on point. And so that thing got me a bit shook. And so I had to put the pressure. We are changing my game from testing him out to pushing the pressure, because if they had to stop that fight, I think they would have given him the decision. And so I don't think it was easy, but I do realize there's a few things like I hit harder. I think in the past I've never really focused on my power, and I think I did. That's what we did in Southampton with Gennady. And I think with Khat as well, we're focusing a lot on that power, because I'm a big guy, you know. I'm not a big guy, but I mean, I'm well built and I've got muscle bound. And so I do have that power, and just putting it on her. So but yeah, I was a bit surprised that it went down so early. But I mean, it's a bit of faith in your power, a bit of surprise that, it's a clean shot. I mean, he has to go down. Yeah. And so a bit of both, really. A bit of faith in my power, but a bit of shock. So I can do that. Because this is like the best knockout I've ever had. I've stopped guys before, but never that clean. And so like, I can also do that.
Well, we know that you have a very good following here in the south of Johannesburg. When you fight here, you have a good following. In the DRC, how's your following?
You know what? After that last fight, amazing. because that fight was shown everywhere. Everyone knew the next day. People were saying the whole of Congo knows it. And even when we went to the minister of sports, we went to his advisor, and everyone had known about it. And I think that's what gave us a foot in the door to be with the government and to organize. So this tournament, we organizing ourselves, me and my managers organizing it. And so I think that got us the foothold into the whole management and fame thing. But it's a start. I've lived here, I've had 19 fights here. I've had one professional fight in Congo. I had an exhibition fight before. And so it's going to take a while, maybe another 1 or 2 fights for me to get my popularity as up as it was here. But I think it's growing. It's growing a lot faster than I thought it would.
But you're undefeated on the African continent. No one's beaten you here.
Yeah, no one. So that to make it 20 fights in Africa and 20 wins. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, last time I was thinking, because I had 26 amateur fight and 24 pro fight. So I've reached that 50, that half a century luck. Obviously, I had a few amateur fight, but I mean, like Venda, we had that straight fight. Then I had a few exhibition fight, which I didn't put in this record. But I mean, official fight, 50. It's not too bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a good experience now. How old are you now, Paul?
I'm 28. I turned 28 a few months ago, September.
So technically, these are the prime years of your career.
Yeah, prime years. You know what happened, is that, remember, when I to the 2018, I was 24 when I stopped boxing. And I thought I had reached my prime already. But it wasn't actually. My prime is now in my late 20s. And so it's kind of like revival of my career again, where it's a different setup. And now I know for a fact these are my prime years, not back then when I started. And so, I got a few years, and let's see how far my prime can get me.
All right, and the guy that you're fighting now, how do you see him? Have you seen any footage on him at all?
I've seen a few footages on him, He's a warrior. I like him, Philip Musariri. Actually, 2 days ago, they sent me a video of him saying, he's going to be my toughest fight, he's going to bring hell on earth, which is good, he's a warrior's heart. Because you don't want to go there and the person doesn't want to fight you. And so it's good. So I've seen a couple of fights of him. I got age on my side over him. I got experience as well.
Older or younger?
He's older than me, so I'm younger and I got more experience than him. So I think that will kind of... But he's got a very good knockout record. Okay. I think he's got 7 wins and 6 knockouts. So like 7 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. And so he doesn't have that much experience. But I mean, it's boxing, right? Anything can happen. So I don't take anyone lightly. Even if I was fighting a baby, I'll still train like I'm fighting for Otate.
Even if you had to fight Hezbollah, you know who that is? Hezbollah, the Russian little kid.
I love that kid. Yeah, I'll fight him because he kicks as well. Yeah. So I train like I'm training for Otate.
He's like world famous all over YouTube at the moment.
I like him. There's 2 of them, right?
Yeah, there's another one.
Actually, I seen a video lately, when there was... I think there was UFC recently.
He was there.
He was there, and the other kid was also there, and Khabib was also there, which is good. I mean, that brings attraction to games. So I mean, as much attraction is into MMA, I think it eventually kind of rubs onto boxing as well. Vice versa, people start with boxing, and then they get into this whole fighting game. Oh, let's try boxing. Let's watch boxing. I think many people can badmouth things like when Jake Paul fought people. But I mean, those are bringing eyes to the sport.
But I mean, let's look at from yourself personally. Like, let's just say Jake Paul was fighting Fury, the cousin, and you got an opportunity to go on the undercard. I mean, how many fans are going to turn out and see you? And that's the thing, And how much can I ask in terms of purse? Yeah. Because I think as a kid, growing up, all I wanted, I want to fight. But I'm 28 now. If I'm lucky enough. I live a good life, so I think I can push to 35 or whatever. But I've got 7 odd years to make a living that's going to last me a long time. So I got to push. So things like purse is very important now. Yeah. Things like not taking a lot of punches, having more talk, less fight kind of way. Where Mayweather fight someone like Conor McGregor and they're getting 100,000. Or you fight Jake Paul, whatever his name, the brother is, and then he gets a few 100 million. Or he got 100 million or 300 million for Conor McGregor. And it wasn't a tough fight, in my opinion, for me. It was the money, right? So you have to make those where you don't work harder, you work smarter. Yeah. And so, I'm at that point, I'll definitely fight. How many hours would come here? How many people who start following me there? I remember very well when Mayweather fought Pacquiao.
I didn't sleep that night. And I watched the undercard, and I think the main undercard was Lomachenko. And I was like, oh, that kid is very good. And that's how you start following guys like that. And so guys would have no intention of following you or knowing who you are. Then they see, like, oh, he fights, well, let's follow him. And before you know it, you got a few million people following you because of one fight. So yeah, I'm very up for things like that to bring eyes and feet into the sport.
All right, and quickly back to your fights. What's your prediction?
You know what? I'm training hard. I think I'll stop him. I'll stop him before the 5th.
Okay.
Because obviously there's always that, if it goes 12 round, 10 round fight, I'll go the full 10 round. But I mean, as I said, I don't want to be there for 10 rounds no more. So if I can get him out early, I will. And that's my intention. You know, I think they always tell you, don't go for knockout. But I do search for knockout in a way. Obviously, I want to win. That's the main point. But I mean, by any means possible. And if that knockout is there, I'm going to take it. Am I going to look for a knockout? Of course I'm going to look for a knockout. I'm always looking for a knockout. Even though people are like, nah, I'm humble, you know, trying to be humble. Like, nah, I don't look for a knockout. I'll look for a knockout. If not, we go to points. No worries. I can do both.
All right. Thanks for saying that, because I mean, a lot of people are just like, you know, it's a bonus. That's what people always say. A knockout is a bonus, but truly everyone actually wants the knockouts. Paul, let's talk about some of the charity work you've been doing. Can you elaborate a bit more about that?
So, during lockdown, I've always done charities my whole life. You know, I think I grew up in a very poor family, and I've always been at the end of other people's mercy, if that makes sense in any way. Where other people are helping us out would be how we survive. And, you know, that's something my heart's always been with. And so I've many charities. I even won the Lead SA Hero a few years ago with the Fight Within Inside. But during lockdown, I started like a food drive. And just through Facebook and social media, a lot of people donated. But what happened is, like a month or two after that, these people would message me, hey, we're starving, can you give us some food? And at the time, it was tough for me because I wasn't working either. The gym was closed and I was going into debt. And so I couldn't even say, like, you know what, I can feed you for whatever. But it stays with your heart, right, where you don't want to feed someone a once-off and maybe help them out. And eventually maybe try to get them to start working somewhere where that poverty, hunger is not a problem anymore. And so eventually I wanted to start it. So I started a food drive called King Kamanga Boxing Drive. And so I had where companies will commit a monthly fee. Be like, this month I'm going to donate this much, 20, because I make packages. Like I donate 20 packages or 50. At least there's 20 families that know every month we're going to have food. Understand? And eventually we see how we can get them to get into work. Because you get to know these families, right? You work with them month by month for now. And then you come like, you know what, we got to work here, we got to what you're working, what pedigree like, and then maybe we can get them jobs. And so at the moment, my first sponsors were NGL Logistics, and so they've committed to helping us out. So thank you to NGL Logistics. And I'm still looking to work with more companies where we can just put together and then help people out and change lives.
I mean, Paul, it's particularly for you. You said you were in the same position as the people that you're helping now.
Yeah, and I was in the exact same position, and people don't realize. And so I remember sometimes it's not a matter of going hungry for a day or two. It's a matter of, which makes it worse, is you don't know if you're gonna eat again. If you want 2 or 3 days without eating, and then someone brings you food, you're like, oh, thank God, we can live another day or another 2 or 3 days. And so it's very satisfactory for me. I know it's a selfish thing to say, but when you help people out, it feels good. It's a very good feeling, and that's why I do it, really. And also seeing lives change. And I'll tell you a story. So a few years ago, I had a charity called Clean the South. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yes, I do.
So the street kids used to...
Didn't they used to sweep and stuff?
Yeah, to sweep and clean the side, and we feed them and whatever. And then, like last year, last year, or even the beginning of this year, I was driving. I still lived in Glenanda. I was driving, and I heard someone scream my name. Hey, Paul, who's that? And I reversed and looked. It's one of the kids that was begging, that used to, and he's working now. He's working. You know, these people that come and cut your grass and whatever. Like, yeah, no, I'm working now. I think they said what he learned was that you got to work for what you want. I mean, begging is not for him. So, no, I left the street. I left the street like a year now, whatever, and I was working. And that just changed my life. I think that makes you feel like, yeah, this thing is worth it. And obviously, the thing is, 99% of them are still on the street. And then there's 1 or 2 that died shame. The one I know he got hit by a car. So it was good. But I mean, you've just changed one life. That 0.11% that you've changed, makes that whole difference. And that's the thing. And because I look at my situations as well, yeah, where I've gotten out of that poverty with my family. But a lot of our friends that we grew up are still in that same position. It takes one person. Obviously, I had a lot of people that helped me out. But I mean, I could just be that one that's not, I wouldn't say me, to just my drive could just be that one thing that changes another person's life where they're not a problem anymore. And eventually, they could become a solution. And then just play it forward. Like I believe I'm playing it forward. Maybe we have someone else to play it forward. And then we tackle poverty one food package at a time.
How do people get involved with this? Do they contact you directly?
Yeah, so at the moment, I've got a PA. But so, actually, I don't know her number or email off by heart. But at the moment, they contact me, paulkamanga@gmail.com. So my surname and my email are very different. It's a long story. But paulkamanga@gmail.com. I don't really want to give my number up here. But they can contact me on email. I'm on social media, Paul Kamanga, I think on all social media. Instagram. Sorry? Yeah, so they can DM me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. And then, so I do have a proposal where we can send them and see where we're going. Our goal is a charity and how they can fit in. And so DM me, message me, email me, and then I'll have the email at the bottom of this channel. And then you can email me anytime. And for anything else, really, I train people, so I've started training people at the gym called Co1. That's at the Panorama Flea Market. And I believe, so I take classes, but I don't make money. I don't really make money. Some people pay, but some people don't. And I believe that's my way of giving back. Because Anton invested in me, and that changed my life. And so I'm investing back in other people. So if someone wants to come and box, let me know. Let me know, see how we can help you move forward, and who knows, maybe that can change your life. I got some very good fighters that are gonna eventually start fighting. But yeah, so charity, boxing, even if you wanna come as my sponsor, so come on board. I wanna thank Big Bombs. Yeah, funny story. So I used to sell big bombs at school to make a living, and Big Bombs are my sponsor. And then there's Nexus Travel, they're also my sponsors. But I mean, as a fighter, you're always looking for more sponsors, especially at this age of mine. And so if you want to come on board as a sponsor, I've got a fight now in November. Yeah, please come through and let's see how we can work together.
All right, Paul. Just lastly, details on the fights. Can we watch it from South Africa? Do you know anything about that?
So, SuperSport, I don't think SuperSport will be showing it, but I think it's going to be a live stream. And so, but a live stream, I'll only get it as soon as I get there. I'm leaving South Africa on the 13th of November. So as soon as I get that set, I'll be able to distribute how you can watch the fights, live stream, and things like that.
So we're going to just navigate through your social media sites, and if anyone that's interested in your fight, go to Paul Kamanga's. Do you have a fan page on Facebook?
I do. I think it's called King Kamanga. So I'm not very glued up with social media.
Admin, huh?
Yeah, admin. It's too much for me. I just want to get the work done right. And so I think it's Paul King Kamanga on fan page, I think it's called, on Facebook. And so yeah, all the details will be there.
All right, and lastly, thank you. Shout outs for anybody.
I want to thank Hayden. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you to many for helping me, time, Head Stradum. And there's guys in Congo. Also MT Promotion. That's my manager, Marcel Chioyo. And the management that's promoting this fight. Yeah. Also the president of Congo, Felix, he's actually encouraging boxing as a sport in Congo. And so that obviously will elevate the sport in the country. And then thank my sponsors, as I mentioned, Nexus Travels and Big Bombs Lollipops. And yeah, so thank you everyone. Thank you all my fans, family, and I bring that title on. It's coming home.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming with us.